Yes, I think, sir. I think good to go. We can start now. I'm YouTube live in a couple of minutes.
Sure, sir. Hi, all. Good morning. Just do let me know once you are able to see my screen. Can you please confirm, guys? Is it visible?
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, Satik.
Yes.
All right. Okay. So today, as you know, it is going to be a demo session, right? And in this session, we are going to talk about that what and all topics we are going to cover under this, right? What is the benefit, right? And after this, what we can do in order to grow our career, right? So first of all, this MCSA, it is a foundation course, right? If you learn any of the technology in the servers, right, either it would be uh, Azure cloud, okay, either it would be SCCM, Intunes, right? So all these things, you should have the basic concept, you should have the basic knowledge of servers. Then it would be easy for you to understand the other things like SCCM, Azure cloud, AWS, whatever you want to go further. All right. And the thing is, certification is not there by the Microsoft. Earlier it was there, right? But now they are not providing the certificate. But still, you have to learn these things. You have to learn about servers. You have to learn about the features that is available in the server. There only you will be able to work onto it. All right. So the major part, whenever we are going to start with the servers, right? So the major part comes, that is Active Directory AD, in which you have to configure multiple types of domain controller. Now it depends on the scenario, it depends on the organization, that what type of domain controllers they want to configure. Okay, so there are multiple types of domain controller: primary, secondary, and then your child, and then read only. So it totally depends on the infra, it totally depends on the traffic that you have in your organization. So based on that, you have to build, you have to set up your infrastructure. Okay, apart from that, we have file server also. The major thing again, if your organization or if your users want to access the files and shares, right, and you want to configure the high availability of your file servers, in that case you have to configure the failover cluster, so that if any of the file server will get fail, or let's say if any of the server, any activity is going on onto that server and that is not available at that time, so in that case, second server will start serving the services to the clients, and we will be able to access, and the users will be able to access the services. Okay. So whatever the features we are going to configure, right, we have to plan in a way that if anything went wrong with that particular server, then in that case, how we can configure the high availability of it. Or you can say, whenever any server is not available, in that case also, how my users will be able to access the services. Because as an organization, as a system administrator, it is our responsibility only. Okay. So let me show you the topics that we are going to cover. Okay. And it is totally based on the practicals, right? We are going to perform everything on our labs. And to perform these practicals, we have to use the virtualization technique. Might be you worked on Hyper-V or VMware or VirtualBox. So these are the virtualization tools that we can use. Like, let me show you. Okay. So on this server, I have installed Hyper-V. And even in organization also, if let's say you have a good compute power on a server, then in that case, in that particular server you can create multiple types of virtual machine. Okay, now let's say I bought a server. I bought a server, and this server has around 128 GB RAM, right? This is the minimum I'm saying, right? In the organization you are going to have 512 GB also. It totally depends on the installation that you have to do onto the server. Based on that you have to procure it. Based on that your procurement team is going to buy the server. But again, as a system admin you have to give your requirement, right? So based on your requirement only they are going to purchase. Okay, now let's say my requirement is 128 GB of RAM. Okay, and processor I need to get. So mostly in the servers we used to get Intel Xeon processor. Okay, and let's say hard disk I have is of can take the example. Let's say it is 8 TB. Just for now it is 8 TB. Right. So if you are going to install only one operating system, obviously in order to boot this server, in order to work on this server, you have to install the operating system. Like if you want to access your laptop, if you want to work on laptop, then in that case you have to install the operating system onto it, right? The same thing on this server also, I have to install the operating system. Now let's say I install the operating system that is the latest version of server, OS server. The latest version is Windows Server 2022. The latest version is this. And just for your knowledge, guys, Windows Server 2012 R2. Now Microsoft is not providing any support for it. So it was announced in 10th on 10th October. So after 10th October, Microsoft is not going to provide the support for Windows Server 2012 R2. So in this, if you want to get the support, then in that case you have to buy the ESU license, because sometimes there are some dependencies on the operating system, that there is an application which only can run on 2012 R2. We cannot run it on 2016 or 2019. Why I'm saying, because this is what we are facing, right? So in this case, what we have to get, you have to get the ESU license, so that Microsoft is going to give the exception for your operating system, and they are going to provide you the support for that. They are going to release the patches for that particular operating system, and it will cost a huge amount. Okay. Anyways, so on this is my new server which is having this much compute power. Then in that case, first of all I need to install a operating system onto it. Let's say I install this operating system. Like for now you can see this is the operating system installed onto it. So on this server, on this operating system, either I can install all the roles, because obviously it has 128 GB RAM. I can make this server as a primary domain controller, right? I can make this server as a failover file server. I can make this server as a web server. I can make this server as a DFS server, DFS replication. But obviously, if we are going to install these all roles onto a single operating system, in that case, if let's say there is something wrong with this operating system, it went down, So in that case, whatever the features are going to be there in this operating system, all users will not be able to access. You cannot rely on a one operating system. Okay. So what I need to do, rather than going with one operating system, I am going to install one virtualization tool onto this operating system. So let's say I installed this virtualization tool. It can be anything. It can be a VMware. Okay. It can be Hyper-V, or it can be VirtualBox. So after installing this virtualization tool, what I can do, I can individually configure multiple virtual machines. Like this is my VM1 on which I'm going to install, let's say it is ADC, oh sorry, PDC, primary domain controller. Okay. And let's say on this again, I'm going to configure one more virtual machine. And onto this VM, I am going to install IIS feature, web server basically. Okay. And let's say one more virtual machine I'm going to create here. Right. One more. So here you can say on it, you are going to install file server. In it, you can install DFS, and here you can install and anything else like WSUS. Right. So like this, you can install multiple virtual machines, and you can so they will be having their dedicated operating system, guys. Earlier you were working on a single operating system, right? But now they have their dedicated operating systems. Okay. And you can install the features onto it like PDC, IIS, file server, DFS, WS, US. Now let me show you practically that how it is getting done. See, this is my server. This is my this thing, this operating system. Yeah, this is the operating system, OS. This is OS layer. Okay, operating system layer, OS layer, and this is my virtualization layer. This one. See, so this is my operating system layer. Inside it, what I did, I installed Hyper-V, right? And inside this Hyper-V, you can see I have configured multiple virtual machines. Even this machine also, this base machine also have a good configuration, right? If you want to check, let's go to the properties of this machine. Yeah, so it has around 64 GB RAM. All right. Now, so based on this compute power, what I did, I just distributed the compute to multiple virtual machines so that I will be able to run them. If you will see, all the virtual machines have the compute power, then only I will be able to run it. Just for the example, I'm going to turn on one virtual machine. Okay, let's say I'm going to turn on this machine. I will let you know what are these checkpoints are. Okay, don't worry. So let's start. And if you want to take this console of this machine, then in that case, right click on it and then connect. So why I'm telling you these things, guys? Because see, whenever we are going to perform our lab, right, we have to set up all these things. These are the prerequisite. Okay, and even these things you are going to see in the organizations also. In your organization also, you are going to work on Hyper-V or VMware or any of the virtualization tool. Okay, so this thing going to help you out during your interviews also. You can mention in your CV that you have worked on Hyper-V. You know the concepts of Hyper-V. You know how to configure the VMs in Hyper-V. You know how to customize the existing virtual machines, right? So these all things you can mention in the CV. Because as a system administrator, right? So employer wants that you should have the knowledge of virtualization, you have the knowledge of servers, you have the knowledge of SCCM, and you have the knowledge of a bit knowledge of cloud also. All right. So now for now, it is already a primary domain controller, right? Because I am already using it for my current batch. Okay. But how to configure it again from very scratch, I will let you know this. Okay. And if you will log in here, and one more thing, Hyper-V is a by default tool that you will get in your Windows laptop. Okay, so if you are using Windows 10 Pro version, in that case, it is by default available in your laptop. You have to just enable it. Okay, I'll show you how you can do that. And the second thing, if you are using Windows 10 or Windows 11 home version, okay, in that case, how you can get Hyper-V? I will give you one script. You have to run it in your laptop, and then you will be able to see Hyper-V in your machine, and then you can create your virtual machine. First thing, right? The second one, uh, you can configure, if you want to configure your labs or networking server, you can configure over there as well. So once you are going to enroll in this course, right, you will be getting the access of the networking labs also. Over there, you can configure your labs. Servers are already configured there. You have to just turn it on and you have to install the features, the roles, which I'm going to teach you in our coming classes. All right. Now, this is my primary domain controller, the backbone of the organization, guys. Whatever the information are going to be there of the computers. Because see, if you are working in a domain environment, sorry, if you are working in an organization, then in that case, all the systems should be the part of your domain. Because if you want to manage all those systems, in that case, it should be the part of domain, then only you will be able to manage. If they are the part of work group, then you will not be having any control onto the system. Users will be able to make changes whatever they want if the system is in a work group. But if it is in a domain, then the normal users will not be able to do, because every time admin rights will be needing at that time. So normal user, what they have to do, they have to create one ticket. Either it can be Jira or whatever tool your organization is using. So they have to create a ticket, and then that ticket is going to assign to you, and then you have to take the action onto it based on the requirement of the user. Okay. So this is my primary domain controller. If you will go to tools and you will go to Active Directory users and computers, you will be able to see the domain name. So for now, I configured this server as a abc.com. And if you are going to expand it, here you will be able to see computers. So for now, I haven't joined any of the system in my domain. And in the users, you will be able to see the who and all users are the part of your domain. Now let's say one user has joined my organization. So in that case, first of all, I have to create his account onto my AD, so that whatever the applications I'm using, either it would be Office 365 or any of the application we are using, so the user also will be able to access it with the domain account, and he will be able to log in with the domain account onto my domain system also. Right. Now let's say user one has joined my organization. So first of all, what I need to do, I have to create his account. Okay. Now let's say user login name also user one, and then go next, and you have to give one password, and then uncheck on user must change password at next logon. Either you can provide it, right? So in that case, what will happen if user is going to log in? So he has to change his password. Okay, automatically he will change. Basically, it should be checked, right? Because obviously you are going to provide one password. It can be welcome at rate 123, right? Then once user is logged in, then in that case he can change his password by its own. Okay, let me uncheck next and finish. Now you can see user one account. So this user one only can log in onto my domain systems. Even if the system is in work group, then in that case also he will not be able to log in. If this domain user want to log in onto my organization, then in that case he has to log in onto my domain laptops, domain systems, domain computers. Right. Now let's join one system also onto the domain. So this is one client machine I have. This one in which I have installed Windows 10. Okay. So let me apply this checkpoint. And one more thing, I'm going to make a change here. So as I told you, in the existing virtual machine also, you can customize it. If you want to increase the RAM, if you want to increase the virtual processors, you can do it. Okay. So I'm just making it as a virtual processor as 2, so that it would be faster. Then apply, and then okay. And then let me start it. So this is only one type of domain controller which I'm showing you right now. But in our classes, we are going to work on multiple types of DCs. Okay, because obviously you cannot rely on primary domain controller. Let's say there is some maintenance activity going on this server, or let's say there is something wrong with this virtual machines. Then how you will be able to create the user's account? So in that case, we have to plan a backup solution. We have to configure additional domain controller, so that if my PDC is down, then in that case, ADC will start serving the services to the clients. Okay, so this we have to plan whenever we are going to design the infrastructure. Depending upon that, we have to configure all these virtual machines onto our location. Okay, now let me connect to this VM. Yeah, so this is running with Windows 10 operating system. So if I want to join this system onto my domain, in that case, first of all, I have to make sure that I should be able to ping my domain. If I will not be able to ping the domain, I will not be able to join the system onto domain. Okay. So this my primary domain controller is running on class A network. Sorry, class C network. So what I need to make sure that I should assign the IP to this machine is of class C only. If it is of class B, then in that case, it will by default, it will not be able to communicate. But if you set up the communication, then in that case, we have to configure the routing. then in that case you will be able to ping it from another series of IP also. And that also we have the topic in servers. So server also can act as a router. You can configure the VPN in your servers. You can configure the routing on your servers. You can configure the NATing in your servers. Yeah, ideally it is not recommended, right? Because it is meant for the networking devices only. But if you want, server has the capability to become as a router. Okay. Now let me make a change in the IP. Or there are some shortcuts also. You can use ncpa.cpl, or in the DC also, if you want to use some shortcuts, I will let you know that as well. I prepared one a sheet basically in which you will be able to get that uh, that how to use the shortcuts. Okay, shortcut commands are already there onto that sheet. All right, I will provide you that sheet also. Okay, so as I told you, this my PDC is running on class C network, so I have to assign the IP of class C only. Let's say I'm assigning it as 1.50, and then okay. Okay, and close. So as I told you, if you want to join this system onto domain, right, you have to make sure that you should be able to ping your domain name. So let me go to my command prompt and try to ping abc.com. I'm not able to get the response. Why? Anybody?
DNS.
Exactly. It is not able to resolve the query. And also, if you will try to ping it with its IP, you will be able to. See? That means my name is not getting resolved. And how we can resolve our names? That is with the help of DNS. All right. And when I configured the PDC at that time itself, I made that server as a DNS server also. So the IP of this DNS would be 1.1. Okay. So I'll go to the shortcut. Right click, go to its properties, IPv4, and then in the preferred DNS server, I have to define the IP of my DNS, and then only I will be able to get the response from name. See, now it is getting resolved. That means I will be able to join this system onto domain. Type sysdm.cpl and go to change, and then in the domain, or even if you want to change the computer name, let me name it as client1, and then domain, that is abc.com, and then okay. So this pop-up is coming up, right? You have to provide the domain admin account and password, administrator, and the password. And now the system is part of abc.com domain. And now that user one will be able to log in onto this device. So this ignore this error. Why? Because we have changed the computer name. That is why it is showing. We can ignore it. It will take a reboot, and you will be able to see the system is part of your domain. So in our classes also, guys, I am going to teach you from very scratch. Might be all of you knows about all these things. Okay, But as a trainer, what I am doing in my previous classes, in my previous batches also. So if you are still aware of it, but I try to make it, I I try to start it from very scratch, so that if anyone is not aware of all these things, so that anyone is not from this IT background, so that person also will be able to understand the thing. Okay, so this is just for demo only. Even how to configure, how to set up all these things, how to configure the domain controller, but and all prerequisites are needed. So all these things we are going to start maybe from tomorrow. Okay, now you can log in onto this device, onto this client one machine with that user one account. Go to other user and type here user one and its password, and then enter. Now it is done. Now what does it mean, guys? If the system is part of your domain, then whatever the policy you are going to configure, that is group policy basically. Okay, so group policy, you have to create one group policy in your domain controller, right? And let's say you have 50,000 machines. So that group policy is going to be implemented onto that 50,000 devices. Let's say you want the users will not be able to read USB on their systems. Okay, so no need to go individually onto each and every system. You can directly configure one policy on your primary domain controller, and then you can deploy it on your devices, and then on that devices users will not be able to access pen drive. This is just an example. There are multiple templates of group policies that can be implemented, right? And depending on what requirement. Let's say you want to install any uh, application. Let's say you want to install Google Chrome onto this machine. One is fine, right? You can individually go to one system and you can install it. But if you have to install it on 50,000 devices, a company can have more than 50,000 devices also. Then this thing you can go through. You can do it through group policy. Okay, let's take the example of group policy itself. Now, as I told that we need to install Google Chrome onto this machine. Okay, so either you can just log in onto the system and then you can do it, but we don't want to do it. We want to do it via group policy. Okay, so for that we have to go to our primary domain controller, and over there we have to configure the policy. All right, so I'm going to my PDC. Okay, so with the help of a group policy, I can only deploy .msi package. I cannot install .exe. Okay, there is a limitation with this group policy that only .msi packages can be deployed through group policy. But if let's say majorly we used to get the MSA packages of all the softwares. But if let's say you are not able to get it from the internet, then in that case, how you can do it? So you can do it via SCCM. Even I'm not saying that this MSA package is also it is deployed by the group policy. This is just the example I'm giving you. Majorly, organizations are doing the deployments of the softwares and the application through Software Center Configuration Manager. Okay, so to understand the SCCM scenario also, this thing going to help you out. Okay, whatever we are doing or whatever we are going to do, so it will help you out in understanding the configuration or the concept of SCCM also. Okay, because in SCCM as well, you have to configure primary domain controllers, you have to configure users, you have to configure group policies. So might be Sadik can relate, right, Sadik?
Sorry, I didn't get you.
Yeah, so I'm saying that the same thing, this thing going to understand to the SCCM environment also. If you remember,
Yeah.
we configured the primary domain controller over there, right?
Yes.
We
Yes.
configured group policies over there.
Yes.
So if you already have the thing, if you already have the understanding, so it is going to help you out in SCCM configuration also, right?
Yes. For
Exactly.
sure.
Yeah. All right. So let me log in onto this PDC. And I need to create a group policy. See guys, group policies are of two types: domain based policy or local policy. If you are applying a local group policy, then in that case, this policies that policy will be applicable for a particular device. Local group policy will be applicable for that particular device only on which you are applying it. But if you are creating a policy at domain level, then in that case, it would be applicable for the systems which are going to be the part of your domain. Okay, so if you want to see the local group policy, you can go to run and you can type here one shortcut, that is gpedit.msc. So these are the local group policy. If I'm going to create a policy onto this local group policy, then this policy will be applicable for this server only. But if I want that the policy should be applicable for my 50,000 devices, then in that case, I need to go to gpmc.msc. This is domain based group policy console. See, here you can see forest, and then another forest, whatever the domains are there, you will be able to see them. And then you can create a group policy inside your abc.com. So what are these forests? So basically, whenever you are going to configure a primary domain controller, right, that will be called as a forest. Okay, so if someone is asking if there is a PDC, then in that case, where you are going to configure the forest? So there is no as such question. So in that case, that PDC itself is a forest. Okay. Now I need to create a policy. Okay, and that policy is basically to deploy the software. So to deploy it, first of all, I need to get the .msi package. So I believe that package I have in my base system. So let me go to run and let me pick it from the network 192.168.1.5. How to make these network shares and all this also I will let you know. For now, you can just skip it. Okay, I will let you know later. Okay. All right. So to this downloads, I might be having some MSI package because that packages I'm using for that SCCM environment. Okay. So yes, you can go to MSI packages and I have this Google Chrome. Okay. Let's say we have to install the Google Chrome. So copy it and place somewhere in your server. Let's say I'm going to create one folder here and I'm going to place it under this folder. Right. And I need to make this folder as a shared folder, right? because if the remote system or client system has to pick up this package, then in that case it should be shared. It should be shared folder. Okay, so first of all, let me rename it. Let's say I'm naming it as soft. Okay, and I'm going to make this folder as a shared folder. Go to its properties, not C drive. We have to go to soft properties and then go to security, then advanced. Sorry, this is not needed. Why we are going this? Let's again go to properties, go to sharing, and then advanced sharing, and then share this folder. And in the permissions, allow everyone, then apply, and then OK. Yes, we have to get the MSI package if you want to deploy it through group policy. Okay, and even we have some online converter also. Okay, if you have any .exe package, that can be converted into .msi also. Okay, so there is no as such big deal. All right, so close it, and now I need to go to this console, group policy management console, and then I need to right click on this abc.com and then select create a GPO in this domain and link it here. Select this. So let me name it as Chrome deployment. Chrome underscore deployment. And then OK. Now right click on Chrome deployment, the policy you have created, because inside for now it is blank. You have not defined any parameter inside it. For now it is blank, right? So now you have to click on Chrome deployment and then select edit. Now under user configuration, so group policies can be applied based on computers and based on users. It depends. Sometimes if you want to, let's say if you want to define a USB access policy, you don't want that users will be able to access pen drive on their system, then it would be a computer based policy, right? And if let's say you want to define the password length for the users, then it would be user based policy. Okay, it depends, right? Depending upon our requirement, we have to play around with these two options, computer configuration and then user configuration. All right, so let me go to policies under user configuration and then go to software settings, and then you can see software installation. Right now, right click on software installation, select new and select package, and you have to give the network path where actually your package is. Okay, so in our case it is under, let me give the, or here itself we can give 192.168.1.1, then open, right? And here you can see soft. Do remember guys, we have to give the network path. Okay, select this Google Chrome and then open. So we have three options: published, assigned and advanced. Okay, so if you want that this package will get installed automatically, then in that case you have to select assigned. Okay, but if you want it should be available in the turn Windows feature on or off. See, if you're going to the system and you're typing here turn Windows feature on or off, sorry, turn yeah, if you're going here, shortcut is not applicable for it. Let me show you in my laptop. See, if you are opening this one, then in that case it would be available here. User can check on it and he can install the Google Chrome on his laptop. But if you want to do the forceful installation, because sometime user ignore, let's say user has ignored the this thing and he has not installed Google Chrome, and again he is going to create the ticket for you that yes, I haven't got the Google Chrome in my laptop. The thing is he ignored, he don't know the step what to do. Okay, so if you want it should be published, then in that case it would be it would be available here. Now one more thing, I was telling you that in case of Hyper-V, you will get it in the Windows 10 Pro. Okay, here you can see Hyper-V. So I am using Windows 10 Pro version in my laptop. I have to just check on it, and after it, it is going to take a reboot. And after that reboot, I will be able to see Hyper-V on my system. Okay, so if you want to enable Hyper-V, you can check in your Windows 10 or Windows 11 laptops in the turn Windows feature on or off. Are you getting this option? If you are not getting, then it would be the home version of the operating system. Then in that case, I will give you one script. That script you have to run, and you will be able to get it in the laptop. You will be able to get Hyper-V in your laptop. Apart from that, if you want to install VMware, then it is also fine. You can download it from the internet, and how to activate it, I will give you the activation key for that. Okay. Anyway, now just cancel it and let's go to the server again. So I'm going to select assigned here and then OK. Just wait for a minute and then you will be able to see the package version, everything. Just wait for a minute.
I think you can refresh it to get it quickly.
Yeah. Okay, we got it,
Oh,
right?
okay.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the version, right? And then you can right click on it and go to its properties, and then in the deployments you have to select install the application at logon, that as soon as user is going to log in onto the system, he will get the Google Chrome installed onto the laptop, right? Check on it. And then we have upgrade option also. Now let's see, for now the version is 69, right? But tomorrow, let's say Google Chrome released its 71 version, then in that case we can reinstall it. We can upgrade the Google Chrome version from the group policy itself. Okay, so I will show you this later on. Just apply it for now and then okay. Okay, now close it. Okay, so for now we targeted all the systems which are the part of abc.com. Group policies can be implemented on organizational unit also. Now take one scenario. Let's say I have organizational units in my primary domain with the name IT, accounts, HR. Okay, so let's say accounts users want Firefox in their laptop and IT users want Chrome in their laptop, right? So what you have to do, you have to create a dedicated policy for the accounts OU. For now, you can't see any of the OU because we have not created it. So once you will going to create the OU, it would be, you will be able to see here, and then you can just right click on the OU and you can create a dedicated policy for the organizational unit for your OU. Don't worry, in our coming lectures, I will let you know. Okay, so we created this policy. We have to run one command, that is gp update force /force and then enter. Okay, it is asking for a log off. Yes, and then enter. Even this Google Chrome you will be able to see in this domain controller also. Earlier now we don't have the Chrome on this machine. See, it is not installed. But once you are going to reboot, you will be able to see Google Chrome in this system as well. Log in again. See, installing manage software Google Chrome. Right? Same way, you have to go to your client machine, let it install on this PDC, and meanwhile, I'm going to the client machine. And just run that command again, gp update /force, and then enter. All right. So on this also you have to say yes and then enter. And now again, if I'm going to log in onto this device, okay, meanwhile it is getting logged in. Let's check whether on PDC we got the Google Chrome or not. Okay, it is still installing. This is the one way of installing operating system on your organization's laptops. The major thing that organizations are working, they are working with the SCCM. Okay, and see, it's there in my PDC. Why in PDC? Because I applied this group policy at domain level. So whosoever system is going to be in the domain, either it would be a domain controller or it is going to be a domain system, then in that case, that policy is going to be applicable for the device. No, there would be no any alert in that case. Only once user is going to log in, on the screen, on the logon screen itself, he will be able to see that installation is going on. Okay, and even this also, if you want to, if you don't want that user will get that alert, we can block it also. Okay, all right. So yes, so on this system also, on this Windows 10 machine as well, I'm able to see Google Chrome is installed. Same way, there are thousands of templates in the group policies that can be implemented in the organization. So all of you are using internet banking, right? So over there, you're not able to use your previous password. It is not allowing you to use the previous password. If one password you have already used, that cannot be used next time because they have defined the policy. The same thing you can define for your group policy as well, that if a user has used its password, then he will not be able to use that particular password again. He has to give, or he has to change it with a unique password. Okay, this is just the example, right? Joby, whatever I'm able to recall, this is what I'm trying to explain. But don't worry, what and all things we can apply, right? I prepared one group policy sheet, and based on that, or based on my experience that I have worked in the organization, so whatever policy they are implementing in their systems, so I'm going to show you all of them. Or even if let's say you have one, if you have a special requirement, just do let me know. So we'll try to find out that proper template for that requirement, and then we will apply it on the systems. Okay, any query so far?
Yeah, hi, so this said Gaurav.
Yes, Gaurav, please.
I want to know that the command which was executing the update /4, right?
Hmm.
It's mandatory to run in all these organization system like we have
No,
Microsoft.
no, No.
Okay.
So there would be a, see, I want that it should be applicable as soon as possible. That is why I run that GP update slash course. Okay.
For my
Automatically also there would be a time, there would be a schedule that we can define that if you're not going to run that command, then in that case, automatically the systems will be able to pick the policy.
how much time it will take?
You can do one thing. In this case, if you don't want to run this command, okay, then in that case, you can do one thing. Just go to your PDC, go to that policy. Right click on it and you can select enforced. You can click on enforced. Now, no need to run that GP update command. Okay.
Okay, sir, thank you.
This is why I ran, because I want to show you as soon as possible. That is why. Yeah. Anything else you want to ask? All clear? Yes or no? So guys, see, my sessions are going to be interactive, right? So you have to interact. Everyone. Silence means no confusion, right? I'm assuming it as no confusion. Okay.
Apart from this, there is a pure query. Can I?
Yeah, please go on, please. No problem.
Sir, I want to know the timing of this batch actually.
That would be 9:30 in the morning
In
on
morning,
weekends. Weekends, yes.
only weekends, sir.
Only weekends, yes.
This, how long will be each session?
Sadiq, for now it is going to be for 1 hour or 1.5 hour, but moving forward, we are going to have session for around 2.5 or 3 hours. So I will give you a 15 minutes or 20 minutes break between it. Okay.
Okay.
And we are going to have it for around 2.5 or 3 hours, because see, we have lots of topics, right? So if we will go for 1 hour, then in that case it is going to take around 4 to 5 months to complete this module. Okay.
Okay.
So we will be having 5 days to practice all the things which I'm going to teach, right? And it would be for 2.5 or 3 hours. Okay.
Okay, and we will use the 22 version or 2019.
Either
Which
would be fine for me, Sadik. If you want, we can work on 22 as well.
that's
Why I'm
fine for
showing?
me. Anyone you use,
Uh,
it's fine for me.
so
I
what
don't know
happened
for
actually?
other users.
You remember on the SCCM we installed 2019 only, so I have that ISO of 2019, right? But we can download the 22 ISO as well, and we can start working on it also. No problem. Yeah,
Fine. It's Saturday and Sunday. Is that right?
exactly. Saturday, Sunday.
Perfect.
Yep. Even for you, it would be like it would be 7 days for you, right? 5 days for SCCM and then 2 days for MCSA.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. It's gonna be
Uh,
for 2 months or 3 months.
exactly. For 2 or 3 months, you have to manage it. Exactly.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
My system is also going on
Okay. Is it on weekends or what, Gaurav?
on weekdays, on weekdays. In
Okay.
night.
No problem. Then for 2 months you have to bear it, right? No problem.
Yeah, I can manage.
It is going to help you out in your upcoming interviews.
And currently, I'm working as a system administrator in a company.
Oh, that's great. Then this course is going to help you out
Yeah,
again, right? Even if you're going to enroll for SCCM, that is also going to help you out. My your company is using SCCM or
yeah.
Intunes?
Windows Server and 2019.
No, that is
17.
fine. Your company is using Configuration Manager.
Yeah, configuration. Yeah.
Okay. So that is SCCM. So if you want, you can enroll for SCCM as well, and over there you will get the the knowledge of SCCM, that how to configure, how to deploy, or how to manage. So all these things you are going to learn in the SCCM. Okay, all right. So this is just the demo, right? Now let me show you the topics that we are going to cover under this whole module. Okay, so guys, there is no as such PDF I have created, right? So I am managing it on an Excel sheet, right? So that even I and you also will be able to track it, that what and all topics we have covered so far. Okay, so let me show you that sheet. Where it is? Ah, okay, so around 44 or 45 topics we are going to cover under this whole module. Okay, and it is totally based on the organization. It is totally based on the companies, that how companies are working, how companies are managing all these things. Okay, based on that only I prepared this sheet. Okay, so introduction of MCSA, it is nothing, just a server, basically how to manage the servers and all, what and all features can be installed, how to use the virtualization. Okay, this already we talked about. How to make the communication of the VMs. Okay, so this we will, when we will start from very scratch over there, I will let you know how to do all this, right? Then types of domain controller. As I told you, we have primary domain, additional domain, child domain, and read-only domain controller. So how to configure it, why it is needed, what's the concept. So the thing is, see, configuration is not a big deal, guys, right? We have to just understand the concept, because in interviewer is not going to ask you to configure the domain controller, right? He is going to ask you that what is primary domain controller, how you will be able to identify whether what kind of domain controller it is. Any idea, guys? If I need to verify that what kind of domain controller it is, then how I can verify it? Any idea? It can be interview question. It is the interview question basically, which I have faced
Will you
initially.
cover the FSMO rows
Exactly, we
in
will
this
cover it.
one or no?
Here it
Yeah,
is.
yeah, they are. Okay.
I will share this Excel sheet, Sadik. Don't worry. Okay. So I basically we are tracking here, like for my previous batches also. If let's say we have covered a topic, I used to make it green, right? And same way, you guys also have a track on the topics that we have covered. Okay. Okay. So just a question, guys. Just an interview question for you. How I will be able to identify that what kind of domain controller it is I am working on right now?
What do you mean? Is it the version of the operating system or
No, it is. I meant that what kind of domain controller? Either it is a primary domain, additional domain, CDC, or RODC.
the primary should be a forest?
Exactly. But now let's say if I am logged in onto this machine, right? So if I'm going to configure additional domain controller also, you will be able to see same thing on ADC as well.
Yes,
So how you will be able to categorize it?
the hierarchy.
Sorry,
It's in the hierarchy, I think.
hierarchy.
Yeah, you have the forest, you have the domain. After that, you will see like
No,
child domain.
that is fine. That is fine, Sadik. But what I told, that ADC, additional domain controller, is going to be the replica of my primary domain,
Yes,
right? Then how you will be able to segregate that what is my additional domain and what is my primary
for example, you have ABC.
domain?
second domain.
DNS address.
Sorry. One by one, guys. Yes, Adi, go on, please.
From DNS address.
You're not audible. Actually, your voice is breaking.
Primary and secondary DNS address.
No. It's a simple thing, actually. Sadik.
If it's the second domain,
Hmm.
we will see something like uh, something .abc.com. If it's a second domain controller, we will see just a computer,
No,
another
Sadik.
computer with the same domain.
No, no. It's not like that. Okay, let me tell you. See, initially you asked for FSMO. I thought you are able to relate it. Okay. So with the help of FSMO, guys, we will be able to verify that what kind of domain controller it is. All right. So whenever you are going to create a domain controller, there would be FSMO roles are going to be configured. And FSMO roles are categorized in two parts. One is domain based role. Second is forest wide roles. Right. And it is of 5 types basically. I'm going to teach you in our upcoming lectures, right? What is FSMO, why it is needed, what and all the features of the FSMO roles. I will let you know later on. But for now, wherever these 5 roles are going to be there, it will be called as the primary domain controller. Now, how to find it out? Go to command prompt, type one command, that is net dom query, sorry, net dom query FSMO. Enter. So can you see this? These are the 5 roles actually: schema master,
Yeah.
domain naming master, PDC, RID, pool manager, and infrastructure master. These all are installed on the system whose host name is PDC. And even if you want to check the host name, type the command host name and it is PDC. So these 5 FSMO roles are installed on the PDC. That means it is a primary domain. And in case of ADC, again, an interview question. How many FSMO roles are going to be there in the ADC? The answer will be yes. No. The answer will be 0. So these are the basic things, guys, that we have to cover actually. Configuration, again, I'm saying it is not a big deal. You can watch the videos and you can do the configuration by your end. The thing is the concept we have to understand. That's it. Interview is going to understand whether you have the understanding of the basic understanding of all these things or not. In IT, it is not a big deal, right? It is just if you are going to enter in IT field, obviously organizations are going to give you the KT, knowledge transfer, right? So no need to worry about configuration, just focus on the concept. All right. So in case of ADC, there would be 0 roles. And one more thing, from one command also you can verify that what kind of domain controller it is. You can type one command, that is net accounts, and then enter. And in the computer role, you can see that it is a primary system. And once you are going to configure the ADC, right? If you're going to type the same command, net accounts, then in that case, it would be backup. Okay, so this is how you can verify that what kind of domain controller it is. And in case you are configuring CDC or tree domain, then Sadik, it would be 3 roles are going to be there. Okay, in case of child domain, there would be 3 roles, and that roles are going to be domain wide roles, not forest wide, because forest wide roles are already with primary domain. Okay, you cannot transfer it to child domain. Now one more thing. Now this is also we are going to learn that If let's say my primary domain controller is down, I'm not able to figure out the issues going on my primary domain controller, then in that case we can make additional domain controller as a primary domain controller by transferring these 5 FSMO rules. And then that ADC will become as a primary domain controller. Okay, so this transfer can be done. Either we can use the transfer command or we can use the seize command. So if you're using transfer command, then in that case, you will be able to communicate. If let's say you are able to communicate with your primary domain, then you can use the transfer command. But if you are not able to communicate with your primary domain controller, then in that case, you can use seize command. That means you are forcefully transferring the roles from PDC to ADC by using seize command. Okay. Might be it would some high level, but don't worry, I will let you know once we are going to configure it. Okay. All right. Let's go to that sheet again. So ADC, CDC, RODC, and then Active Directory. How to manage ADs, how to create the user's account, how to password, how to reset their password, how they can configure, how you can configure their profiles. Okay. So all these things we are going to learn in the Active Directory. Okay. And then we have domain and OU delegation. Every time it is not possible, guys, that only administrator is going to work on your domain. You will be having multiple team members in your IT team. Then in that case, based on their experiences, you have to give them the delegate control. That I want, Sadiq will only be able to create user's account in my AD. Apart from that, he will not be able to do anything on my Active Directory. So that is called delegate control. He will only be able to create the user account. Apart from that, he will not be able to delete them. He will not be able to reset their password. He will not be able to create the group policy. He will not be able to join the system onto domain. Means whatever the policies I'm implementing, so based on that only, Sadiq will be able to perform operations on my Active Directory. Okay, that is called delegation. And delegation can be done, either you can give the access on your domain, either you can give the domain based access, or you can give the OU based access, organization units based access. Okay, so this is domain and OU delegation. Then RSET, remote server administration tools. So with the help of RSET, you will be able to manage your Active Directory on your Windows 10 laptops also, on your Windows 11 laptops also. No need to log in onto domain controllers. You have to install this RSET tool in the laptop, and then you will be able to manage all the things which you are managing on the DC. The same thing you can manage on your client machines also. Okay, so this is RSET tool. And then group policy. I told you that there are multiple templates available. Based on our requirement, we can apply the group policy in our environment, right? Then we have the AD Administrative Center. So it is the advanced version of Active Directory. So over there, you will be able to see additional features for the users account and computers. So I will show you this one. And then DHCP. For now, on the client machine, right, we configured IP manually. But if you want to distribute the IP automatically, then in that case, we have to configure the DHCP server, and then we will be able to distribute the IP from the DHCP itself. No need to define the IPs manually, right? Then we have DHCP failover. If let's say your DHCP is down, I told you we have to plan for the backup also. For PDC, we can create ADC, right? Now for DHCP, what we can do, we can configure DHCP failover, that if my DHCP is down or some maintenance is going on my DHCP, then in that case on second server I can configure the failover. And if my primary DHCP is down, then the failover DHCP will start serving or will start distributing the IPs to my client machine, right? Then we have DHCP relay agent. right? If you want to distribute the IP of different range, like you want, you in organization you're using class A and class C both, right? And then if you want to distribute the IP of class A and class C to your client machine, then in that case you have to configure the DHCP relay agent. Okay, so this we are going to cover. And then FTP, file transfer protocol, and web server. If you want to host a website, then in that case you have to install some roles, that is IIS role, and then you can configure your website over there. Okay, and then we have network load balancing cluster. So this is basically to make your website highly available, or it is going to balance the load. If let's say on your website, right, thousands are thousands of the users are coming to your website, right, then in that case wherever you have hosted that website, so based on the compute power only, that server will be able to respond to the query of the users. Okay, and at a certain point, what it will stop serving the reply to the client, because it has the compute power. The CPU utilization come up to 90%, right? Then in that case, how the users will be able to access my website? Then what I have to do, I have to configure the network load balancing cluster. So inside the cluster, I'm going to add multiple servers, and then if one server is overloaded, automatically then the load balancer will going to send the request to the second server, same way to the third server, and they are going to balance the load. Okay, so that is load balancing. And then we have profiles and folder redirection, then types of trust, right? So if you want to configure the trust between two organizations, so might be you have heard, so L&T and Mindtree, it got merged, right? So if you want, the L&T users will be able to log in onto the devices of Mindtree. Then in that case, what you have to do, you have to set up the trust between both the organization. Then only you will be able to log in. Okay, so what are the types of trust we have? We have multiple parent child trust, tree root trust, external trust, shortcut trust, forest trust. So all these things we are going to cover under this trust topic. Also, it is again going to help you out during the interview, because if you are going for the system administration, definitely they are going to ask you about all these things. Okay, then network address translation. Okay, then file and print management. If you want, printer should be installed onto each and every devices of your organization. So what you have to do, you have to set up the file and print management. You have to configure the print server, and then with the help of group policy, you will be able to deploy it onto each and every device of your organization. Okay, then we have VPN, virtual private network, VPN with NPS, network policy server, and VPN with radius server, right? Then we have remote desktop services, RDS services, and then data deduplication, BitLocker, file server resource manager. So in FSRM, what you can do, you can limit the extensions that only can be placed on the file servers. Now let's say I want that you will also, that you only will be able to upload document files on my file server. Apart from that, you will not be able to upload any kind of extensions. So I can block it via FSRM. Even I can define the quota also, that if let's say I have 1 GB space available in my hard disk, but still I want that you will only be able to use 100 MB. So I can restrict it through file server resource manager. Even you have a space available in the hard disk, still if I'm implementing that 100 MB space can be used by the user, so in that case 100 MB means 100 MB. Apart from that, you will not be able to store the data. 100 MB you can store, more than that you will not be able. Okay, then storage, basically NAS, storage area network, iSCSI disk. Okay, so all these things we are going to talk about. Then FSMO roles, then shadow copies, then DFS replication and namespace, and then again major topic guys, WSUS patching. In order to make your devices secure, what you have to do, you have to install the latest patches released by the Microsoft in your organization's devices. Earlier we were using WSUS technique, but now we are doing it through configuration manager SCC. Okay. Then we have FSMO roles, seize and transfer. I gave you the example. If you want to make ADC as a primary domain controller, then in that case, either you can do it via transfer command or you can do it through the seize command. So I'm going to show you both. Then AD migration or upgradation. Initially, I told you that Microsoft has stopped their support for 2012 R2. If let's say I have a primary domain controller on 2012, then how I can upgrade it to 2019 or 2022? So this thing we are going to talk about in this topic. Then ADFS, Active Directory Federation Services, single sign-on, right? So we are going to configure ADFS. Yes, nowadays it is totally cloud-based, okay? But in case of on-prem, how we can configure it, I will let you know in this topic, okay? Then you have backup, how to take the backup of the server, how to restore it. Even let me write it down, restore also. Backup, how to configure the backup and the restore also. How to configure the how to restore the complete system, or how to restore a particular file, or how to restore a particular feature. So we are going to learn in this backup topic. Then we have WDS, Windows Deployment Services. Windows Deployment
I have a
Services.
question
Yes,
regarding,
please, Sadik.
would you cover MDT, Microsoft
MDT, no.
deployment? Okay,
We will
not,
cover WDS.
okay. I thought
Okay.
we would have like lab, if it's possible.
I can show you, no problem in that case. And even don't worry, Sadik, we are going to cover it in the SCCM.
Okay, and also in Windows Server, would you cover Active Directory certificate, I think certificate services?
Line
Oh,
number 43.
certificates.
Line number 43. ADCS.
Okay. Okay, ADCS. Okay,
You
that's
just
fine.
name it, everything is there, Sadik. Okay.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, I didn't got it.
No problem, no problem. Okay, then we have WDS, Windows Deployment Services. Right. With this feature, what you can do, you can install the operating system in your laptops. Earlier we were using WDS, and even still some of the organizations are using WDS, but the same thing, same deployments you can do through SCCM also. Okay. All right. Then RAID configuration. Might be you heard about RAID 0, RAID 1, RAID 5, RAID 10. How to configure it? What is the concept of RAID? Right. So interviewer can ask that what is the minimum disk required in case you want to configure RAID 5. So it can be the interview question. Okay. So we are going to cover in the RAID and we are going to configure it also. Then Nano server. It is not needed. Nano server is only available in 2016. Okay. It is not available in 2019 and 2022. So, but I will let you know what the concept of Nano server. Then AD sites and services. Then install from media. Then IPAM, IP address access management. If let's say you have multiple DNS server in the environment or multiple DHCP servers in the environment, right? Then in that case, if you want to manage them, you have to individually log in onto each and every system. But if you are configuring a IPAM server, in that case, no need to log in onto the systems. You can manage all the DNS and DHCP servers from this single server itself. That is IPAM server. Okay. Then failover in file server. Again, the major topic is how you can configure the failover in the file server. Okay. Then DNS, major topic, interview questions. Mostly interview questions are going to be there from the DNS topic. Then forest and domain functional level. then ADCS, Active Directory Certificate Services, then NIC teaming, and the last but not the least, that is PowerShell. How to work on core server. Core server are basically command based. You will not be able to see any graphical options there. Okay, so how to work on the core server? So in that case, you should be handy with the PowerShell. Then only you will be able to work on core server. Now, guys, any confusion, anything you want to ask?
Yes,
Yeah, Sadiq.
for PowerShell and command line,
Hmm.
if you could use them daily, so we would practice it with you. It's gonna be better. For example, for checking installations, checking services, checking uh, what we did
Sadiq, so
using.
first of all, yeah, so I understand. So the thing is, first of all, I'm going to use graphical options. Okay,
Yeah,
as I told you that we are going to have a dedicated session for PowerShell. Okay, so I'll cover all the commands and all in the PowerShell topic itself, right? So daily,
okay,
if you want, if all are okay, if all are okay with working with the PowerShell commands, I can show from the initially, no problem.
okay, that's fine.
Okay, because
Just the
see,
command, for
because
example, like netdom, netsh.
yeah, don't worry. This initially from initially classes itself, I will going to help you out with it. Okay,
Thank you.
yeah. Anything else you want to ask
Hello.
regarding these topics and all?
Hello.
Yes, please.
Sir, we can Microsoft Exchange server describe
No,
in this course.
it comes under Office 365.
Oh, oh.
Yeah. Okay. So these are topics and how you will be able to and even guys, whatever the topics we are going to cover, I have the PPTs. Along with it, I'm going to give you the MCSA book, PDF book, and I'm going to give you the interview questions. Okay, and there are some assignments also that I'm going to give you once we will start our classes. Okay, and how you will be able to get these all things. So I'm going to create one classroom. Okay, so you all have to join that classroom and then you will be able to get it. You will be able to download it also like this. Okay, so this I'm doing for my previous batches. So same thing, I'm going to create a classroom for you all and you have to join.
Can we have this class in weekdays?
Weekdays classes are already going on, Gaurav. So you can check with the networking team. So if there would be any upcoming batch of weekdays, you can join. Okay. Yeah. So this is especially for the weekends only. Okay. So over there you will be able to get all the PPTs, all the interview questions and the books, PDF books, whatever I'm going to share. So it would be available on this classroom. Okay. So by tomorrow I'm going to upload all the documents and the PPTs here and you can download, right? And Hyper-V, you are okay with it, right? The second thing, you can download VMware also. You have to just go to your browser and just write down download VMware workstation. Okay, you can download this workstation. You have to just download it. For now, it is valid for 30 days. But don't worry, I will give you the activation key and then you will be able to use it live. Okay. Anything else before we wrap up, guys? Any confusion, any doubts, any feedbacks? All right. So see you tomorrow, guys, right? At same time, 9:30. Thank you. Okay. So see you 9:30, and from tomorrow itself we are going to start from the first topic, the introduction of MCSA, right? And even this also we covered in this lecture as well, but I will give you a glimpse of it, and then we'll start with the configuration of PDC, ADC, and whatever the domain controllers we have. Okay. So see you tomorrow. Bye bye, everyone. Have a good day ahead.
Goodbye.
Bye bye.
But